For centuries, power was held by kings, then by nations. But today, a new empire has risen, one without armies or borders. It's an invisible empire, built on the most valuable resource in human history, data. This is the story of how technology quietly became the most powerful force on Earth. It all started with something that felt innocent, the internet. It promised a new world of freedom, creativity, and connection. But behind that freedom lay a hidden currency: our clicks, our searches, our photos, and our conversations. At first, this data was just numbers on a server. But then, a few companies realized something extraordinary. Data wasn't just information, it was power. The power to influence what we buy, what we believe, and even how we feel. In that moment, the internet went from being a public square to a private kingdom. The early 2000s saw the rise of the new empire builders. Google mapped the world's information. Facebook mapped our social lives. Amazon mapped the global economy. And Apple put the keys to this empire right inside our pockets. In less than 2 decades, these corporations became wealthier and more influential than many countries. They didn't just sell us products. They built entire ecosystems that we couldn't easily leave. Our photos, our memories, our purchases, our deepest habits, all stored, analyzed, and monetized. Every scroll, every like, every single click was another brick in the wall of their empire. If oil was the fuel of the 20th century, data is the fuel of the 21st. But unlike oil, this resource is infinite, and we are the ones who produce it for free. Every second, millions of us willingly hand over our personal information to apps and devices we don't truly control. We trade our privacy for convenience. They don't need to steal our secrets anymore. We upload them ourselves, complete with photos and location tags. The empire thanks us for our service. We believe we're free online. We think we're choosing what to watch, what to buy, what to believe. But that freedom is an illusion. Behind our screens, sophisticated algorithms are making those choices for us. They've learned what makes us angry, what keeps us scrolling, and what pushes us to buy. They amplify our emotions, create divisions, and subtly shape our behavior. You think you're making a choice, but the empire's code already knew what you would choose before you even did. This digital empire doesn't rule with force. It rules with dopamine, with the pleasure of a notification, with the addiction of an endless feed. In this new world, the main currency isn't money, it's our attention. The longer they can keep you looking, the richer they become. Your time is mined like a precious metal, refined into engagement, and sold to the highest bidder. We no longer just live in a capitalist world. We live in an attention economy, and our focus has become the most valuable commodity ever created. Some call this the greatest economic system ever invented. Others call it digital slavery. Today, these corporations know more about you than your government, your family, or even yourself. They can predict when you'll change jobs, when you'll have a child, or even when you'll fall in love. This is the era of surveillance capitalism, where your life experiences are turned into a product, and you are the one being sold. What was once private is now property, and that property belongs to someone else. We still think of global power in terms of nations, the US, China, Russia, Europe. But look closer. Who has more real-world influence, a president or the CEO who controls the world's primary communication platforms? When a single company can silence a world leader, influence elections, and shape global conversations at will, that's not just a business. That's a digital superpower. The real empire doesn't have a flag. It has a logo. And if data is the source of its power, then artificial intelligence is the sword that wields it. AI learns from everything we do, our faces, our voices, our behaviors, and uses that knowledge to automate decisions that are already shaping our world. AI can predict crime, write articles, create art, and trade stocks faster than any human ever could. The empire is evolving beyond human control. Machines now govern the flow of money, information, and creativity. The question is no longer if AI will take over, it's whether we'll even notice when it already has. This empire doesn't invade with soldiers, it invades with apps. Entire countries are now dependent on the digital infrastructure built and owned by these private tech giants. From cloud servers to communication networks, governments themselves are renting their power from corporations located thousands of miles away. Billions of people in Africa, Asia, and South America use systems owned by a handful of companies. This isn't just globalization, it's a new form of digital colonization. The empire doesn't need to own the land, it already owns the digital world that runs on it. But every empire, no matter how powerful, faces resistance. People are starting to see the invisible chains hidden behind the glow of their screens. Movements for digital privacy, data protection, and ethical AI are growing stronger every day. Whistleblowers are bravely exposing the dark corners of big tech, and nations are beginning to demand sovereignty over their citizens' data. The empire is powerful, but it is not invincible. The future of our freedom depends on whether we can reclaim our most valuable resource, our own information. Imagine a future where your every move, thought, and word is recorded, not by a dictator, but by an algorithm that learns and adapts faster than you can think. Now open your eyes. That future is already here. The next great war won't be fought with missiles or armies. It will be fought with data, a war for control of information, privacy, and truth itself. And when the dust settles, the question will be simple. Who owns the world? The people who create the data or the corporations who control it? Power has already changed hands. The digital empire has risen. Thank you for watching. If this made you think, please consider liking this video and subscribing for more content that explores the forces shaping our world. Stay curious and stay aware.